So I'm the initial person that brought up a drone story, and the reason why is because of the usage of the drone. And I was almost positive it was the law enforcement. And I got a nice gaslight over that story. People saying some kid, I'm like, I'm telling you right now, no kid is doing anything with this drone. Too much of a professional move. This you had to see it to understand like the issues with this drone. And I lived in this house for about 7 years. At that time, about six some odd years, right? And there was actually an action that happened for me to even go there. So at this moment in time, I had to call the city because we had huh. So let me explain what the city does. And it's actually probably the city's fault that did it. So out here, if there's an issue, say I have no utilities, right? You call 311 or whatever, and then they transfer you to where you need to go. So if you have to report it to the health department or the DWP, like there's a thing to do here. One morning, my neighbor goes out and she's trying to tell the DWP, don't turn off anything, and saying this whole thing about it. And I go, what's going on? And so I run into the guy and he's like, yeah, we're supposed to cut the line. I go, well, I showed the paper to the landlord because there was a notice the day or two before. It was just a couple days before or something. And it said, you need to get this done now or everything gets shut off, right? And I thought that was a strange notice. Like, I don't know what that's about. And I send it to him. Oh, I will take care of it, blah, 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 blah. So we don't know anything. These guys come and they come to shut off stuff. And so we're talking to him. I go, yeah, we have a lot of people that live here. There's children here. There's a bunch of people that are renters here. And we all pay for the electrical and everything here. We give it to the landlord and then he pays you. And he goes like this. It was so crazy. He's like, on our records, it shows this is a single family house. So if it was a legal rental, we probably wouldn't be doing this right now. And so we have to do it this way. And unfortunately, that's just what happened. Now, they were actually really good with us on this moment in time right here because they go, we can make this worse and cut the lines outside. But he's like this, I'm gonna cut the power from the house. So like when he pays the bill and they come back, it'll be on right away instead of us cutting that line, because if we cut the line, it's going to cost them more money and it'll take a couple days to fix it. So they were really nice, did that, told us what happened here, advised us that the property was illegal. So it was actually through DWP that actually, validated that was the case. Well, so then we had to call the health department because now he didn't turn it back on. He didn't pay it. So what we found out was he didn't pay for 4 years, took the government money. I don't know what he did, you guys. This story's so like out there that during COVID, it was like at the very start of COVID, because if you're talking 4 years, we're talking last year from 2024, we're talking from 2020, he stopped paying the utilities. And they allowed these landlords and whatnot to not pay. But there's no reason to not pay because we all paid. It would be different if nobody paid here. We just couldn't pay him, But we all paid. And he took that money and went out of the country. And then left me to kind of watch the property without really telling me that that's what he was doing. It was the craziest thing. So for like a year, like he wasn't on the property. And it was so eerie and everything was overgrowing. There was no anybody there to do the maintenance or anything. But we didn't know he stopped paying the DWP. That's insane. For 4 years. 4 years, you guys. So I see the bill finally. And one of the neighbors said, oh, you know what? I opened one up and it said like $20,000. I go, excuse me? I would never open the bill, but there are bills that come that say to the resident, and it's not name to a person, so therefore that's okay. But the ones that are to them, I don't want to touch, like that type of thing. But no, they said they opened one up one day and it said that, and I couldn't believe it. I go, you could run a bill that big? It was crazy. I guess a lot of people did this. I'm being told every time I talk about the story now, they said a lot of people did this. I go, well, they're stupid because they're going to have to pay it eventually. I don't know who would do this purposely. It would be something like, nobody's paying me, I have no other way to pay it, and that would be the only reason why I'd be running a balance like that. I don't want a balance like that. That's a car. It's a brand new car. So they went on vacation for a year. And there was a lot of illegal activity going on also during this time. So anyway, they tell me about this, and after they leave, what else did they tell me? Oh, they said when I call the health department, they have to call CPS. And I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. I mean, what, I don't know. So they had to call Child Protective Services on the people that had kids on the property for their safety, okay? So, I mean, it makes sense why they would do that, because they shouldn't be living on a property where there's no running water, or, well, there was running water, but there was no electrical, and then therefore no heat, unless they had gas. Yeah, there was no heat, and we didn't need heat at that time, but we needed AC for sure, and a refrigerator. So we all lost like hundreds and thousands of dollars of food together. Yeah. So the job of the health department was to try to get them to turn it back on. And if they didn't turn it back on, then they have to pay for a hotel for us. And then they can obviously decline to do that. And then it becomes a legal battle between everybody. So in my case, they paid for the cheapest, most whatever hotel. And then the people up front decided they're going to stay at the Hilton and try to get him to pay for that. It was crazy. I was like, well, if I knew that, I would get stuck in the bunk hotel. That ain't right. So, anyway, and the other people wanted to stay on the property because they had to work in the morning, and it was too much of a hassle for them to be anywhere else at that time. So they suffered through it, and they had a refrigerator at the job and just did it that way. And they had gas still in the back, so at least the gas wasn't shut off, but my place did not have gas, so we didn't have any, like, cooking thing there at that time. So, when they reported to CPS, they didn't tell us that they reported to anybody else. And then I was sitting outside and I hear this buzzing by my head. And I'm like, I don't know what the hell that is. And I'm alone. It was so creepy. And a drone is stalking me in the backyard. And I notice it. I pull out my camera. So we have a video of it. So it's not fake. And it's looking at me. And it's hovering, and as I'm following it, it decides it wants to do some cool ass maneuvers to show that it's going to get away. And I'm like, I have never seen any crap like this in my life, and I don't even know why it's here. Like, it's like this whole question, it happened right when this happened, right? So I tape it. So then it wants to do a maneuver to hide behind a tree. Like, it's like you're dealing with a child, you know what I mean? It's like doing this crap. So it goes behind a tree, and I'm watching it. Then he wants to come out again, and he's staring at me again. And then he goes behind a pole. He literally hid behind a pole. Like he's playing a game. And I'm like, I don't know who the hell this jerk is, but that's creepy as hell. And so I'm taping the whole thing, and then he zooms off, okay? So I'm like, oh, you guys, did you guys see this? So that all the neighbors come back, right? And I show them. I go, I'm sitting out here alone, and this drone is stalking me in my backyard. And then it had no lights on. On this time, it had no lights on. Nothing. And I was like, I have never seen anybody around here flying one of those. Nobody, ever. And I was swimming during the summer and everything. I'm like, I'm totally creeped out because then I'd be getting stalked, you know, swimming and, you know, some weird stuff. But no, there was nothing like that. And it came during this, you know, event. So I was like, yeah, that's weird. So then later that night, I go to bed. And the very next day, one of the neighbors tells me the story. And I go, I am like absolutely creeped out. Who the hell this person is? We need to file like restraining order against somebody. So what happened was this drone comes up in the middle of the night. She running around naked in her home inside her unit, and it come up to her window and starts looking through her window. I'm like, I don't know who the hell that is. That is frightening. And then he takes off, right? And she's like, yeah, I walk around here naked half the time, and I don't think anybody's gonna be doing that with my window, this thing, that thing. I go, yeah, that's crossing some major lines right here. So I ask, well, I showed some things of it, right? Well, this conspiracy hadn't started yet, right? This conspiracy online, no, it hadn't started yet. So I started questioning, and she tells me, oh, there's a drone school nearby. And I go, well, maybe because of the drone school, maybe somebody over there is screwing around where they shouldn't be. So let me give them a call before we jump to any other conclusion. So I give them a call. They go on this whole thing. They start going into the legalities of the drones. And I was like, yeah, we got a major problem. Is that technically nobody owns their airspace, so there's technically no laws, and technically anybody can go up to your window. He's like, the only way to really find out who that is to shoot it down. And I go, that's interesting. They said it's not us, because typically they will get hired and they will go to the person's house and they will train them, and they get like a certificate, like a whole, thing like that. And they don't teach them to do any of that stuff. So I was like, okay, I just want to make sure that it's not like, some school trying to teach. I don't know. I have no idea what's going on. So anyway, no, it wasn't anything to do with them. So, and they said that anybody can make certain things and blah, 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 blah. But I'm still like, I think it's the cops. I honestly think it's the cops, just because of the timing, and it's something that they would do. And when I was talking about this to everybody, there was one guy later, God. Anyway, this new guy moves in. Same incident happened. So the wasn't the electrical this time. They turned off the water this time. They decided to leave the electrical on from DWP and turn off the water to threaten them to pay. Okay, so there was a thing where they didn't pay again. And so I call the city again, and probably through 311, and I get the health department. So the health department again calls him, tells him to pay the damn bill. They need to do this. And then normally they will call CPS. On this time, he claims normally they have to call CPS right away. I don't think they called CPS on this call, but they said the only people I spoke with, he's telling me, the only people that he spoke with was me and the landlord. And so these are the only people that knew about the situation. I'm like, this doesn't seem right, because I don't think my landlord owns this other drone. So the drone popped up again before he came to the house. So here's what happened. So we go outside, and I'm waiting for him to show up. All of a sudden, here it comes. This time, it wants to flash his lights. The lights were red and blue, like a cop. And I go, that's a cop. That is a cop. And what the hell craziness just happened here? So we're watching it. Now my neighbor's outside with me watching it. He wants to stalk us. And I'm looking, and I pull up my camera, and on this occasion, I'm the idiot, okay? So I pull out my camera. I went to click to record. It didn't record. It actually turned it off. Like, it didn't record. And I was literally losing my mind, because I thought I taped this whole segment, because I wanted to show you guys the maneuvers this thing was doing. It is not a random person, okay? It's not like a neighbor playing and learning how to use those. No. So I was watching it, and it decided it wants to show off and do some crazy stuff. And it has its lights flashing like it's a cop. It's doing this thing. He goes and he starts trying to hide. And again, he goes behind a pole, wants to hide behind this pole. It's so like the person who's operating this thing is a total professional. I have never seen anything like this. So he goes behind the pole to try to hide himself, and he just hovers there. He just stays there. You can't see him. You might be able to see his little fluttering legs, you know what I mean? But you couldn't see him. So he hides behind the pole, the phone pole, or the electrical pole, one of the poles that were behind our house. Then he sneaks out again so you could see him, and he darts straight out towards the further street, that's the main street that's like further out. It's like blocks away. And you could see him, but then all of a sudden, this is the thing I wanted on tape because I wanted to show you guys like what the hell here. All of a sudden, I think what happened was, well, he disappeared, like right in your face. Like right in your face, it just went boop. And I go, I don't know what the hell I just seen right here. But I think what happened, this is my opinion on it, I think they know and they can understand their perception that I think the drone itself folded up, like it went flat, like the leg parts, you know how it's like flying, that the leg parts went up and went flat and just dropped straight down. Because when I'm looking at it, like visually, and it's in the sky, it looks like, it was like all of a sudden you see the drone, and all of a sudden it went boop, and I go, I can't even answer what the hell just happened right there. Other than that probably is what happened, is it folded up kind of, and it dropped, so you can't see, it's too thin, like, and it's far away, and it looked like it just disappeared. But I don't believe it just disappeared. It could have technology to make it, camouflage in the sky. It probably could. It did some crazy stuff right there. But it was far enough away for where it could do something like that. If it was close up, it probably would have been easier to see what it did. But it went far away, and all of a sudden, that was the craziest thing I've ever seen. I'm taping it, or I thought I was taping it, and I'm like, it just literally disappeared. It just literally in my face just went boop. And there's an explanation for it, but I'm trying to figure it out. No, that was not a random person that owned a drone. So they went to the other street far away to retrieve their damn toy. The police, we believe. So I asked the health department, I go, did you contact the police before you came over? And he claims he didn't. Now, what could have, maybe the other party involved is 311, and maybe through 311, they're monitoring calls coming in and doing that thing. I can't tell you guys, because if it's dealing with where they call CPS, well, they kind of have a tight, I wouldn't say together, but CPS can deal with police with child cases, but if you were to report a child case, you would go to CPS. You wouldn't want to really go to the cops, because somebody tried to do this too, like not too long ago. They went to the cops, and then the cops showed up, and then all they did was told the family, you need to watch your son and make sure he's clothed. And they're like, it's all good, and then they left. Well, CPS would not let you just get away with that. So CPS would have you, they would sit down with you and figure out a lot of other stuff within that problem right there. So, no, so it's a little strange. And I was like, I would never call the cops for a child thing. I would call, unless there was like like a right away emergency thing. But no, for something like that, no, I would call CPS. But CPS might contact law enforcement if there's crimes going on, like something. But usually, like when I dealt with CPS, it's in extreme cases. They're not like, oh, some kid was just randomly alone and the parent left him. They're extreme cases where like the child is left alone and there's drugs in the house and the parent went and did this and they put him in extreme danger. They could have died. They're little, like under 5, things like that. You know what I mean? Just a little bit more danger. Though I do think that case that somebody called on the front people was totally legit. Like I honestly, if I seen it, I would have called. Because what happened, I should actually share this, and it's actually frightening because I could have actually just let somebody steal someone's kid. They right before the day before the incident. I know I'm going to steer off this topic really quick, but I'm going to share this really quick. Because even the cops didn't know this. Well, they could have known it if the lady, when she called, told them the story, and then they came. I don't know why they would come a day later. There's something weird in the story. I wake up, my security cam goes off. I see a Hispanic woman, her younger son in the yard, and I'm assuming, they're looking at one of the properties in the back, and maybe they're waiting for the owner. I have no idea. It's just crazy stuff, and it's not unusual. So I was just kind of watching this, and then I see her with the little kid, and I go, that looks like the boy up front, but why is he with them? I was trying to figure this out, and then I was thinking, oh, maybe they have a kid that looks just like him. They could, because if you look at that kid, he could be Hispanic, but he's not Hispanic, I don't think. But I was looking, I go, well, maybe I'm confused, and it's actually their kid, and he just looks just like that kid. But then all of a sudden, like, they're roaming around with this kid in the backyard, and I'm looking, I'm like, I don't know. So then they started taking photos of the kid on these stairs, and I'm like, that I don't understand. Maybe they're friends of theirs. Like, I was thinking all these millions of things, but they didn't seem like they're gonna like nab a kid or something. You know, it wasn't that. It seemed like they were here looking at the place because they made a comment in Spanish about the place being too small. I understood a little bit, and then so I was like, yeah, they're not gonna move here. They were looking at it, and they said, oh, too small, something. And I go, okay, yeah. So they're looking at that, but I don't know about this kid thing. So then I see him go up front, and they're off view from my camera, and the little kid goes with them. And so I was like, So I get dressed because I'm kind of like, hey, what is going on here? Just, I don't know. I'm a little curious. And I go up front, and I see the lady sitting in a car up in the front of the house. I don't see the kid now. And I'm just like, maybe they're waiting for the owner. And so I just kind of brushed it off right there. So then I sent the video to somebody that understands Spanish a little more because there was a little bit more conversation. And so I was like, do you understand like what she's saying? Because I just want to make sure, because I don't know what the hell had to happen here. So then the very next day, so this is when it got really weird. So the very next day, I go up front because I had a package that was dropped off. Well, those same people, the parents of that kid, well, it was their kid, by the way. We find out later it was their kid. So they steal my package after the Amazon guy just came. He takes a photo, right? He just emailed me, and I go, oh, I got to go up and go get it. So I go up there, and I go to look for it, and it's gone already. It's gone already. It's in their house. They stole it. And I go knocking on their door, and I go, hey, I just had a package dropped off here, and I need to get it. And they go, oh, my husband, this is what she say. My husband say there was no name on it, and he just handed it to me. And then she already opened it and put it on her pillows, or pillow covers. I go, this is the most insane thing. That my name was on it, obviously. But the guy just dropped it off. He legit just dropped it off. So I'm catching them in mail theft, like right now, right? So I'm talking to him. I go, you need to go give me my package. They just dropped it off. That's not true, but can I get my package? So she gives it to me all ripped open and everything. And all of a sudden, all these cops swarm up in here. And I was thinking in my head, I go, maybe I should call the cops on these people because they just stole my mail again. You know, this other thing. But I was like, I'm not, you know what I mean? So all of a sudden they come up and they go, hey, to me. They're all, you speak English? I'm like, you're asking me if I speak English. I'm pissed now because I was like, they assume like I'm not from here or something. And they go, oh, you speak English? I go, hell yeah, I speak English. And then somehow like they think I'm with them. And it's like, oh, if I tell them why I'm here up front talking to them, they're going to get in more trouble. So I wanted to figure out why they were there. So they go, oh yeah, we need to talk with is the mom here? She speak English? I go, not really, but I'll get her out of here. So I pull her out. I go, oh, they want to ask you. They said something about the kid. And I go, oh, somebody called on them for the kid. So I was kind of happy about that, but I didn't do it. And if I did it, I would have added on, oh, they just stole my mail. That's why I'm right here, right now. So I didn't do that because they were already getting in trouble. So I was like, all right. So I wanted to hear what happened. So they pull her out and they're telling me, they're like, oh yeah, we just got a call that your son was running around here naked and there's no adult. And I was like, that wasn't me, but whoever did that deserves a high five because I can't see that conduct. Like it's in the front part of the property, so I can't see that. But I know it's been going on. Like because they'll go in the back part of the property, that little kid will come back there and he's totally naked and he's just roaming around. I go, one of these days somebody's gonna steal that kid. There's two of them. There's two of them. And I started thinking about this after the cops told them and everything. They didn't do anything. They didn't like ask for like proof that that kid's theirs because there's actually a question to that. But anyway, they don't do nothing like that. They just go, make sure your kid's dressed and watch your kid, yada, yada. Okay, so they made this clear. They said, it's all good. It's all good. We have to check up on this, blah, blah. And then they take off. So I think this is terrible. I think that's that situation. Like, I don't think they handled it right. But they're not really set up to handle child cases like that. But they just left things as is, right? That kid could be in danger. They didn't do anything, right? So I was like, I don't know. She's like, who do you think called the cops on it? I go, I don't know. The neighbor probably. But after I went back into my home, I was thinking about this and I go, you know what? Maybe what happened here was the lady that came, because I think I figured out what happened. When the lady came to go check out the house, this little boy was roaming around without them. Because I go like this to her later. I go, do you know that your son was like roaming around with some Hispanic woman and her son and taking photos of him? And she's like, no. So I pull out my video of it. I go, you see this? Oh, she don't even care. She's not even alarmed by this. She's like, no, I didn't know that happened. I go, yeah, that's exactly it. That lady, I think that lady was so scared she probably didn't call right away. What she might have did, because she was the only one on the property looking around, she probably waited and then I don't know, and then the kid went into the house because I saw the kid come out later and I go, no, that's their kid. She probably went and then called the cops later about it and then maybe the next day and then figured something. I have no idea. But then the cops came and then they confronted her and I was like, yeah, it must be that. I'm thinking it's that, but it could have been another neighbor. And whoever it was did a good job because I can't see it. My camera don't fit, it doesn't go up in that area right there. So I was like, that lady, thankfully that lady's not a crazy woman, but I could have just sat there and watched this lady come into the backyard and then kidnap her kid. And I'm in the dark. I'm like, who the hell would be hanging out with their kid like that? Somebody they know, right? No. And that's a busy street, you guys. That front area where that kid was is a very busy street. And I was having issues with this. It was so conflicting because it's like, you could get the kids removed, but it's on this line of like what just happened. Like the cops come, they're like, you need to watch your kids and do all these things. Well, after they did that, I started noticing like she would try to watch them more because before that she would just sit there and be in her house and go to bed. And all these kids would be roaming everywhere. They're like 2 and 3. And then a couple are a little older. And then it ends up being my responsibility, right? Because like I see the cam going. And I'm like, oh my God. Like honestly, like the CPS should be here. Like that's insane. Because she don't know all of us. But they act like that nothing bad's going to happen. I'm like, any one of these men back here or even in the alley could come in and take your kids. That's just it. And letting him swim without adults, I was freaky as hell. I had to take my pull down, you guys. That thing, I was like, I am not going to be responsible for a drowned kid. They're like, can we use the pool? I'm like, sure. Because I'm thinking the parents are going to be out there watching him and swimming with them or something like that. No. And those kids couldn't even fit to the top of the pool. I go, that's a bad accident waiting to happen, and it's not going to happen while I'm here. So I'm going to say I got to take it down. Season's over. We're done. And, yeah, it's just this level of things. So that was happening, and I told him, I go, when I call the health department, they are going to call CPS. Just to let you guys know. They could take your kids. They won't necessarily take your kids, but it depends on the situation. Like if it's a safer thing for them to do, they might do it for temporary. Um, but in the cases that happen here, basically they're like, make sure they're in a, like, they had to put them in a hotel, the other ones. And so on the first round, they made sure they were in a hotel because CPS was already on that family right there. So they had to go to a hotel and stay there. So they didn't get their kids taken away. And they blame me for this. I go, how's it my fault? I have to report that stuff. There's a number of reasons why. So then, it's not my fault. So then, but this family here was just like, they didn't even care. Like, they're just like, we don't understand. Like, why would they call the CPS? And it's just like, we know in your country you probably bathe them in a pond, but here you can't do that. Honestly, I'm not even joking. Because when they came here, one of the other neighbors was like making excuses for them acting the way that they were. And I go, I don't think that's a good excuse. Nobody should be letting their kids run wild and free like they're just wild animals, okay? I go, you're a parent. You have to parent your kids. You have to keep a little control here, right? And she's like, what do I do? They're kids. It's like, you need to parent is what you need to do. You need to watch them. And then when they're done playing, you need to tell them, pick up their stuff. They need to get into the habit of doing that so they know to do it. And then you don't have to tell them all the time, right? You can remind them, but they know what to do. But no, It was like they came out, broke everything, broke things off my car, were playing with cars, breaking plant. I mean, it was so insane. I was like, it was really bad. But anyway, so the drone came back. Everybody was in denial of it even happening. So I posted again. And all of a sudden, this is when all these fake stories are coming up. Like, no, the fake story started after the first story. So the fake story started happening. Okay, so I reported in August, September, October, November, December. So a couple months later, after I was going on this whole thing about it, and I kept searching for who had the drone because I go, we're going to find out. So I'm calling the school, I'm calling the county, I'm calling everybody, trying to figure out whose drone is this. I go, we need to make sure that we find out whose this is because I don't believe it's this or that, the other. So then all of a sudden these fake stories started popping up. I go, that's suspicious as hell. Because the number one suspect that I think is LA, it's the law enforcement. So, and because it coincided with these calls. So I was like, yeah. Then they started making up they've been seeing all this other crap. Like they're seeing UFOs, right? Yeah, we didn't see UFOs, but we did see some snazzy maneuvers that that shouldn't be going on. So anyway, and then being a perpetrator looking in the window, that went up and beyond just scoping an area, you guys. So that was actually really bad. That's a crime being committed. So we're trying to figure out who it was, and so they were trying to lean on, let's blame the landlord. And I was like, okay, well, what I found in this story was that the landlord had a drone used to take photos of the property, claiming they sold it a couple of years back. But the drone itself could have been owned by a real estate person. It could be somebody's son in the story. So I confronted him anyway, and I go, do you think the doctor and this other dude have a drone? And he's like, that guy's too much of an idiot to even know how to use a drone. That's what he said to me. But that's not saying that he don't. But they all kind of denied this drone thing. So I was like, I don't know. It could be either one of these idiots in here. But once I seen the flashing light thing, I was like, no, that's law enforcement. There's some weird thing going on here. So then what happened was the drone school said, okay, to find out who it is, shoot it down. That's what he's saying. You could shoot it down. That's what he's saying. You could shoot it down. And the neighbor had a pellet gun, and that guy was adamant that's not the cops. I go, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. I used to live down the street with one of those fools. They were atrocious monsters. And it was the worst thing I ever did. Okay? So I go, I don't know if it's these people. I don't know who it is. It's just a little bizarre, like the whole thing. I go, but no, that is not above them. That's something that they would do. So he kept arguing with me that no, it's not. And I go, I'm telling you, that is law enforcement. They don't do that. I go, I don't know what the hell world you live in. They do a lot of things you don't know. Yeah, so he has to be a know-it-all. He's a Tesla driver. What do we expect, right? Okay, so he goes in with this narcissist bullshit into his house, but he sees it. He sees it. He's like, what the hell? And I go, yeah, I told you. So then, no, but I confronted the health department. They claim they didn't call the cops. And then, but somebody did something to trigger the law enforcement there. But again, if he's saying he calls the CPS, then that may be triggering them to come and use a drone on the property. We cannot say for sure on who did what, because he's trying to say he didn't do it. But he may have done it by calling CPS and then they automatically do that. Or it's 311 and they automatically do it because I'm reporting nothing on the property and there's kids here and everything else, right? So we don't exactly know at this moment, but something triggered this thing. But I'm saying they broke the laws by going up to a window and looking inside it in the middle of the night. That is disgusting. That was a different thing than just hovering over looking into the backyard. It was hovering over looking in the backyard and then it took off. But the thing that happened later was that it came up to the property and went up to the window and it looked in. So I posted the thing about the shooting it down thing, and all of a sudden law enforcement actually responded in public. I don't know, they said something. They're like, yes, don't shoot it down. And I'm like, that's probably because it's theirs, right? Because why would they defend don't shoot it down? It's like a perpetrator, right? We're talking about. And they're like, don't shoot it down. And I'm like, I was like, you just outed yourself. You helped us out here because I was almost certain it was you guys, but there was a lean on, they were trying to say the landlord. I go, oh man, if landlords are doing this, we're in trouble. Like that's a whole, this is getting really dark as hell. So I'm sitting back, everybody's gaslighting me. They're making up stories in the media about car-sized drones. So it's throwing you off, right? It's like, oh, there's some crazy stuff that government's doing, making these, car-sized drones, and they're taking over, New York State. I don't know, some weird thing. So it threw the story off, right? It's like now your attention is on some conspiracy, weird, like alien type, weird made up story somewhere else, right? And then all these people are making up videos and they're fake and they're just digitally doing crazy stuff. And then one of the pictures, it was actually a real aircraft, and it was called something. I had to look into that. And they were actually real aircrafts, and they're really strange looking. And they are large. They're large like a car, but that's not a drone. And they had did something with them where they didn't fly them for a long time, and then they just opened up this thing to fly them out somewhere. So some of the suggested thing was maybe it was those aircraft and they were moving them somewhere and then somebody saw them. But the stories that were coming out had nothing to do with that. They're all fake. And so then it just diverts the true topic about the usage of these things. So then what happened was 3 nights ago, I'm sitting here and I'm trying to, situate. And I have the TV on, which I rarely do, and I'm listening to the news, and I'll be damned, they validate what I said. They go like this. So we're going to pull the story up. And it's frightening because presentation, okay? Presentation. We're going to put it here like we're saving the country, okay? So this this is insane. To me, it's insane. But the media, when they're telling the story, is almost like, yeah, that's really great. They're stopping crime in our city, and this is awesome. And I'm sitting here going, wasn't I saying that they were using these things prior to this event, and everybody was denying it? What happened here? Riverside. So we were in Riverside. And also I was saying we didn't get Riverside investigated yet. They actually need to be, but I hadn't done I don't even, so there's a lot of stuff in this. They go, Riverside police deploy new drones for illegal 4th of July fireworks. Crackdown, right? You think that's all they're using that for? No. Check out this technology of this thing. That's why I said the drone that I seen was pretty crazy. It looked like a regular drone. Like it has a look of a regular drone. It's just the way it can maneuver and some things about it were not like just some average person bought a drone and is using it and screwing around. So on here, Riverside police will be using a new high-tech drone to heighten its illegal firework enforcement. What does it do? It's equipped with night vision, flare technology, and 200 times zoom capability, right? That's high tech, isn't it? So that's a really good zoom lens if it wants to peek in your window and look for some illegals, right? Why do you think they did that? And you have to understand that government here, mostly these robot creating fools, take a while to create this stuff. It's not just yesterday. And you're just finding out now that they're using this stuff. And I was saying, I go, I'm almost certain it is law enforcement. And everybody's like, no. And they admit it on TV. But they're trying to say they're using it just for this thing right here. I go, no. If we receive a complaint, we can mark a location on the map on our drone and go right to the location with the drone instead of driving there and go search your house. That's what they're doing. So that's what I'm saying. When we called in, boom, drone came to visit. Wasn't for illegal fireworks. Okay, so then with the new technology, the police can fly over with the scene within minutes. So they'll be at your house within minutes with a drone. And it says the drone comes from the city, $86,000 allocation for technology and training to enhance illegal fireworks enforcement. But this is to keep everybody safe, okay? That's the presentation of the story. By totally ignoring my story and then presenting it to the public this way. This is the strangest part of the story. They go, police said they've seen a decrease in illegal fireworks across Riverside since they started monitoring with the new drone. When I was hearing the story, I thought they just used it now. So I'm thinking, like, how would they know it did that? Were they doing that for a long time? I don't know. It's just kind of an interesting thing, right? So this is a way they can get some money, too. They could fine them up to $50K. $50K for shooting off a firework. But that's not what they were just using it for, because when we're talking about our story, it has zero to do with fireworks. What would have to do with anything to have a drone come up to your window in the middle of the night and look into it? And as you see what ICE is doing right now and their conduct, and government using these drones in a way that you wouldn't want them to, like I said, think about the usage of what they're doing. So their stance right now is this. You could have a house, but your airspace, as long as you're not like walking on foot and going in someone's backyard and looking into the window, your airspace is not off limits. So I can use a drone and fly up to your window and stalk you. That is their stance. And I'm like, oh no. No, we have a major problem with that. They were trying to argue when airplanes fly over your house, you don't own that space. Well, an airplane flying over my house is not looking into my window. It doesn't have the capabilities of flying up to my window. And really, even if you were outside naked, if a plane is flying over, the chances of it even seeing a naked person in their yard would be so limited because they're pretty high up. The people that could do that, though, are the helicopter dudes, you know, the cops and whoever's flying helicopters. But again, they're not flying up to your window and looking in your home. That's a different thing. So we're trying to figure out how to present. I'm saying we need to present some laws around this, because also it's saying they don't need a warrant. And there's a lot of problems with this. So you have to pay attention to their technology. So they were doing this stuff, but they were trying to hide it. So I'm like, why are they trying to hide it? If you're doing something good, you want to tell everybody you're doing it, right? Why government trying to divert it and turning it into conspiracies and then trying to freak people out, right? It was like freaking people out to where they're like, we need government to create some counter drones. It's just doing this crazy stuff. Like they're making up the stories. It is definitely government. So I was like, yeah, you have to be careful of them, because they mess with your minds. Government does that. And yeah, and I was talking about that Homeland thing. I go, yeah, that dude allegedly created a robot. And I wish I could find that thing now, because I was like, let me go back to this for a second. Because there's a lot of stuff going on right now that I think is somewhat relevant to what's going on. So, yes. So you do not want these guys creating toys like that and going amok, because they will. There is an importance of things like this. Like I could see it, in disaster zones, missing people from floods, fire thing, some thing like that. It could be used in those things, and it could be used for good. But this is not what they do. This is not what government does. So you have to limit their garbage. It was just like, I was thinking about it. It was just like when they got the GPS technology and they just slapped it under women's cars that they wanted to stop. And that's what they're doing here. So it's newer technology. They want to abuse it, and you have to limit their usage of it. Like, this is nonsensical. It's like, we're just going to follow everybody in their yards, and I'm going to make up something and go into somebody else's yards, and they could do anything. Anything under any pretense. I could call and be like, oh, I think somebody, shouldn't be living in this house, and there's some bullshit, right? And then they come, or I don't need to do that at all. They can make up they think something, and then just start stalking inside your house. If you have an open window, an open screen, an open curtain, they'll take that thing in the middle of the night and start looking in. They have a zoom technology and can see in the dark. Does that make you feel safe? It shouldn't. It's quite creepy. But that's where that story ends.